What's up, everyone? How are you? I'm going to wait and see if anybody joins. And if not, I'm just going to talk to you about what's up. I hope you can hear me. I would prefer to not put these earbuds in. So if you do, oh, hello, Mom. Can you hear me? If you can type, let me know. I'm using this Chromebook. So many of you might know that about maybe a month or so ago, I spilled water on my Mac. That's when I had that fun adventure of calling the Mac store instead of the Apple store. So I spilled a glass of water all over my MacBook, and it seemed like it was working, but now there is this internal short that is causing my email problems and some connectivity problems. And yeah, I've got to take it in to get it fixed. And it's really cool. We have Apple Care, so it's awesome. What's up, Tanisha? So we only are going to, we have to pay the fee, but can you hear me? By the way, I'm on a new setup here. So we have to pay this fee, and they're going to take the computer and they're going to completely rebuild it. Well, one of you, I know there's a little bit of a delay, but will somebody type in and let me know my sound is okay? I have earbuds, but I would prefer not to use them. So we're going to turn the computer in, and right, I know Alicia called the Mac store. Oh my gosh, that was such a beautiful day. We're going to turn the, I'm going to assume, since you're commenting, that you can hear me. If you cannot, well, why would you? If you can't hear me, let me know. That's funny. So I am going to be without my computer for anywhere between 5 to 7 days. And my friends, it's fascinating to me how dependent we have gotten on our systems. Like that, to me, that is like, the thought of that is almost like, because it'd be one thing if I was on vacation, right? But to work and to do the work that I do and what I spend my time doing, the thought of not having my, thank you, Alicia, the thought of not having my computer has just been not okay with me. So anyway, we got this Chromebook, and I wanted an iPad, but Alicia, you'll be impressed. We have it's a Google product. So I've been working today exclusively on it to prove to myself that I can be okay without my computer for 7 days. Anyway, so that's what's up with me. Awesome, Ben. Thank you, loud and clear. So let's talk. I want to start. If you have something pressing that you want to talk about, type it in the comments. And let's talk about, I wrote down, look at this, some of the things that have been asked of me. And let's start here. Does that sound all right? I'm going to do it anyway. So when is your book coming out? I don't know. It is our intention that it is in the fall of this year. So I work with a really, really just amazing editor that really helped me get it to a really cool place. And then I have started working with my coach to make it even better. And it's really good. Yeah, it's really, really good. And so we are it's in his hands right now, and I'll get it back, and then we'll see. So the intention is this fall, which is really exciting. My friend Ben, what do you say? What's meh? My book or something different? Let me know, Alicia. When is there a balance? My friend Ben messaged and said, is there a balance between seeking to better yourself and being grateful for all that you are? I remember being on I was actually a part of a group coaching program, and I remember having a very similar and more dramatic, oh yeah, gasp, how will I live? That's hilarious. I know, right? How will I function without my computer? I remember being on this group coaching call and having this really confused and probably overly dramatic, just knowing the me I used to be, reaction to, okay, so everybody talks about setting these goals and having these intentions and places that you want to go, and yet we're all supposed to be super grateful for where we are now. So how do we strike that balance of being, okay, I'm happy and I want more, right? So is anybody else able to relate to that at all? It was really challenging for me. So yes is the short answer. Yeah, there is a balance. What it is, I don't know. I think it's individual, and I think it's evolving. So for me personally, I believe that the catalyst for change and transformation is in the acceptance of what is. We can't change anything that we're not aware of. We can't change anything that we haven't identified, and we certainly can't change anything that we're pretending doesn't exist. So I think that the first step is, okay, this is what's happening. And I think being grateful, finding gratitude inside of that, whether it's progression in our journey. Okay, so I may not be where I want to be, but I'm further than where I was before. I think there's also gratitude for me. There can just be in the awareness. Like, I'm grateful that I'm aware that I want more. I'm grateful that I have accessibility and reach for more. And I'm definitions and labels are tricky because I don't think we hold on to them the same way. I don't believe that content and satisfied are the same thing for me. So I believe that I can be content and happy with where I am, but hungry for more. And I think that's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me getting up and waking up early and staying up late and doing the work and having the conversations and writing and creating and doing these lives, right? Like, I'm good and I want more. And what that balance is it 50-50? I don't think so. Does it shift for me? Absolutely. And is it probably different for every human? Yeah. So I don't really feel, Ben, like I necessarily answered your question, because it's yes, and it depends. And we got to figure that out for ourselves. What I do know is that if you're miserable in the process, you're not going to continue the journey. So I do believe that there are a lot of us who are trying to tell ourselves, be happy when we get over here, when we get that thing, when we get to that place of better, whatever that looks like. But we have to find that joy in the journey, because for most of us, the process is, well, it's ongoing. And if we're not having any fun, we're not going to want to continue. If that does not answer your question and you are still on live, Ben, please let me know. Well, Alicia, the Chromebook is working for me now. And yay, I'm excited for the book too. I definitely used to wonder how to be grateful while I'm wanting more. I feel balanced on that now. Yeah, loving the journey is huge. It's especially, and masculine and feminine energies are a little bit different here, but especially for the feminine energy, we got to feel good. If we don't feel good, we're not going to want to continue. Like, we're just not. And so many of us, and I did this for years, it's like, okay, just push yourself and work really, 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 really hard. And then one day you're going to get to this place and then you get to be happy. And it's like, eventually we just get tired and we want to have fun and play and enjoy now. Like, now we got to find that fun in this moment. So thank you for that contribution. Somebody else asked me about the right versus happy conversation. And please, if you have questions about anything that I'm saying or anything different, anything at all, please let me know. I believe that I posted, I don't know, maybe in the past week, that most people say they would rather be happy over being right, but most of us act like we would rather be right. And I think the same thing, that people say that they're committed to their dreams, but most people act like they're committed to their fears. An easy way to look at what you're committed to is to look at the actions that you're taking. And if you aren't happy with the actions that you're taking, then you get a choice to choose differently. This is where, and I shared this the other day too, that so many people are upset with the results that they're not getting by the work that they're not doing. And that's not meant to be an insult. It's, I would just rather you be happy. So if you're not going to do what's necessary to get the results, then stop saying the thing is important to you. It's just, it's not. And that's okay, because at every stage in your life, like, you can only have one most important thing. When I say stage in your life, it's not just like section of years of your life. It could be moment. In this moment, you all right here with me now, you're the most important thing to me in this moment. And an hour from now, it's going to be different. Right? And we can tell what we're committed to by the actions that we're taking, about the distraction that we're inviting in, about the money that we're saving or not, about what we're investing our time and energy and money into. Jason, what's up, my friend? You may have already talked about this. I did not on this live. The book is my story. It's titled Perfectly Imperfect: Confessions of an Attention Addict. And it's the pretty raw and incredibly vulnerable truth of my journey through self-hate and the things that I did for years to seek external validation and approval of my own worthiness. It's about my battle with my own internal demons that many people had no idea was even going on, because I packaged it very nicely on the outside. So it's about the rage that I felt internally, about the not eating, about the drugs, about the alcohol, about the numbing out, about the blacking out, about the codependent relationships and dangerous and unhealthy situations I put myself in. because I just felt not enough inside, and how I learned to heal that, how it impacted my life, my family, so much. So yeah, it's my story. Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Thank you for asking, Ben. I'm glad that answered your questions. Awesome. So yeah, keep asking if there's something else. Something actually, Alicia, I'm going to chat with you. Well, not with you, but about something that you and I talked about, which is if other people don't believe your truth, is it any less true? What do y'all think about that? How cool is this coffee mug? Do you see it? This is a Whole Foods plug. This is where I got this. If other people don't believe your truth, is it any less true? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jason. And Candace, I'm going to answer that question. Here's what I believe. No, I think a tree that falls in the forest still makes a noise, even if nobody hears it. I think if we're finding ourselves acting and engaging like we have to prove something to other people, I would say maybe always, but I don't want to take a lot of time to process this, so I'll say 99% of the time to cover my butt. I think it's because we don't fully believe it ourselves, so we're like fighting for our truth, like against someone else. It's just, if it's true for you and if it resonates with you in your own soul, then it really doesn't matter if anybody else believes it or not believes it, because it's true for you. Period. And that truth doesn't need to be validated or approved of by anybody else than the person that you see when you look in the mirror. And if you find yourself fighting with other people, then my encouragement would be to have a real conversation with yourself, maybe facilitated by somebody qualified to help you in terms of uncovering where you actually don't believe the things that are coming out of your mouth. Candace asked, hold on, how do I navigate difference in communication styles in new relationships between two females? I wouldn't sign up for that. I'm kidding. How to navigate difference in communication styles in a new relationship between two females. Candace, when you say communication styles, what do you mean exactly? Like, is it like how you are, like how you choose to express or not express? Tell me a little bit more about that. I know there'll be a delay, so I'm going to wait for you, but I want to make sure I understand your. I want to make sure I fully understand your question. I know, Alicia, Whole Foods actually has some really cool mugs, and they also have really good vegan donuts. Not healthy at all, but really, really delicious. Yeah, it's only dependent on how much you believe your truth. Absolutely. It's all a projection. I posted about this the other day. Most of the time, and I used to do this in my relationships regularly. If you find yourself asking, like, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you sure? Are you sure you're not mad at me? Are you sure what's going on? Are you mad at me? Most of the time, we're projecting our own stuff onto the other people and then trying to speak. And maybe this ties into what you're saying, Candace. And then we're trying to speak to them like they're us and they're not. So we're implying that they're moving through the world in the same way that we're moving through the world, and we're responding to them in the way that we would respond or we would want to be responded to. And it's not the same thing. It's hard to claim because we look for validation. Yeah, we do. And ultimately, Candace, something that I learned actually from my sister, Yolande, is that your like is extra. So here's what, for me, I realized this actually a couple of days ago. I texted my coach about it and talked to a couple of my sisters, is that, so I used to, because I needed back in the day, I needed your approval for my validation, right? Because your attention I'd be smart. Your attention meant that you loved me, and your love meant that you approved of me, and your approval meant that I was worthy, and inside of all of that, like, it meant that I was validated. So now I actually appreciate validation of my truth. Like, I like it. I want to be told, look, if I think I look cute, that doesn't mean that I don't want you to say, hey, this face looks cute. But I don't need it. And that's, for me, that's the difference, right? It's, if I'm looking for you to make my truth complete, that's different than me saying, hey, this is real, and I'd like for you to say, like, and validate that, and let me know that you hear me, or you love me, or there's a level of acceptance. I accept that about you. It doesn't matter what others believe about me. Good for you, Twyla. That's awesome. Oh, direct versus indirect. Ah, yeah. Are you the direct? I'm going to guess you are, based on conversations that we've had before. So what Candace is talking about, for those of you that maybe aren't completely sure about this, there are two main communication styles. There's people that are very direct in their communication, which means they say what they mean and they mean what they say. If they are thirsty, they will say, I would like a glass of water, right? I'm thirsty. Can you get me a glass of water? And then there are people who are more indirect or implied in their communication, where in the same example, they might say, I'm thirsty, but not actually ask for anything. I used to be the latter. And actually, the more dangerous, and you tell me, Candace, if this happens in your relationship, the more dangerous part of being an implied speaker is that a lot of times you also listen implied, which means that you hear things that weren't said either. So something that if you are the direct communicator, I'm going to scroll down and make sure, yeah, it's 100% true. Something that really helped me was, and I'm going to be honest, because you might annoy her. So if you have the body for that, and to be okay with that, and you can do it in a way that is loving, if you hear her say, I'm thirsty, then maybe you could lob her some questions, right? Is there something that you would like? I wouldn't ask, would you like me to get you something to drink? This is kind of where I've sort of become like I'll say a jerk, to keep this PG-13, but those of you who know me know the 7-letter word that I really mean, where I become kind of a jerk about this. It's for your advocacy, but I'm going to need you to say it, right? Ask for what you want. So I would not give it to her so easily where you are offering to like fix the problem for her, but maybe give her some lead and teach her to use her words. Teach her to ask for what she wants, but do it in a way where you're asking questions, right? Especially if this is someone that you love, right? And that you care about, or that you like really deeply. To say, awesome, babe, is there something you'd like me to do? Or is there something that you need? Or is there something that you want in this moment? And give her the chance to speak, and then respond to her specific request in a way that will positively affirm like her behavior. Does that make sense? And does that help? Let me know. Yeah. You're the versus indirect. That's funny. I used to be much more indirect, but then this goes back to the post that I made recently, which is I spent a lot of time being super angry that people didn't give me what I wasn't asking for. And I used it as an excuse to be pissed a lot, because then I could stay stuck in my story that people don't take care of me and no one hears me and no one gets me what I need or what I want, and blah. And that's fine if you or if she are committed to being a brat. And I would do not call her that, Candace. That will not go well. But just inside of my own self, and especially for those of you that are on the line that are like that, in those moments, it's for me. And I'm not saying that you're doing this, but for me, it was a reason to stay stuck in my story that I can't win. I can't win. No one gives me what I want. It sucks to be me. I'm a loser, right? And no one cares. And what I had to realize is that getting what I want was my responsibility. It wasn't for anybody else to look at me, to read my mind, to interpret my body language, and make a decision on what I need. And I had to learn, for me, to pick my own self up and say, this is what I want, and be okay if they say no. People don't give me every single thing that I want. I ask for stuff all the time, and I either get ignored or get told no, and sometimes I get told yes. But what I sleep really well at night knowing is that the reason that I didn't get it is not because I didn't ask. And I don't want there to be even one thing that I'm like, well, maybe I would have if I'd have put it out there. If you want to take somebody to lunch, ask. If you want somebody to get you something or give you something, or whether it's a discount or something for free or an offer into, I'm having conversations like this with people in coaching or about the program that I'm launching, where people will ask like, well, I don't want to undervalue you. Okay, that's fine if you want to use that cute excuse, but I'd rather you come at me and ask. If there's something that you need, ask for it. That does not mean I'm going to say yes, but there is an empowerment that comes from the ask. So definitely, anything that you can do to lovingly, hi Amanda, anything that you can do to lovingly help her see that would be powerful for her. And I wouldn't do it in like a teachy, lecture-y kind of way, which I don't think that you would. All right, let me scroll down and see. So this thing scrolls in a different direction to my computer, and so I don't know how to go. Candace, makes sense. Awesome. Good deal. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions at all individually. I have a few indirect people in my life. The more I heal from codependency, I learn to ask and not take a hint, but allow them to ask for what they want. Here's the thing, and this has gotten me so many times. When you guess, sometimes you're wrong. When you think you know what they want, right, and you try to swoop in and fill the need. I'll give you an example. This is me this morning. I was in my feelings, and I was throwing just a mini, wasn't a full-blown one because I can throw a tantrum, but I was throwing like a little fit. That's my fit face. I mean, that really, it's a child. I mean, I wasn't stomping my feet, but I really could have been, right? Like I was being just not, well, I was just being. I wasn't asking for anything. I didn't ask for anything because I just wanted to be heard. I didn't want to be fixed. I didn't want the solution to a problem. I just wanted to be heard. But I also didn't ask for that. I just threw my fit. So in swoops my honey with advice, and I hope you learned your lesson for next time, which if you know me at all, I'll let you take a guess how well that went over. I did not respond in a way that was positive or helpful to the situation. And it was fine. It didn't end up being like a big, huge deal, but it wasn't productive. So if I had just asked for what I needed, which was to be listened to and not just fixed, right? Then it would have been a lot different. So sometimes even in our attempt to try and help people who aren't asking, because they haven't made a clear request, we don't know what they're really wanting, and then we try to fix a problem that doesn't actually exist. Are y'all with me on this? This is huge. And then you think you're doing a favor because 9 times out of 10, you're going to solve it in the way that you would want it solved for you, but you're not them. And so then that can just make it worse because you're not giving them what they need and what they didn't ask for. It's shocking to me that we as humans can actually live together at all. I was indirect. I didn't believe I had the right to ask for what I wanted. Yeah, that's big, Twyla. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. At least that would be my guess. The worthiness, right? And especially there are so many of us out there that believe that and act as if our needs are way underneath the needs of everybody else in our lives. And in that space, and whether it's because of how we grew up or what we were programmed, right? Maybe to sit down, to be quiet, maybe we were told your needs are not important, or your needs are not as important as, or you eat last, or you do this after everybody else. And then those things that we were programmed as, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids are still running right now in our life where we don't put our hand up and ask for what we want. That absolutely can be healed. I frankly just don't catch on to the indirect hints. That's amazing. It's frustrating because my goal is to understand, channel over indirect communicators in my life, because how I felt about missing out on what they wanted from me. Oh goodness. Yeah. But that's you taking responsibility, Tanisha, for something that's not yours. It's not possible to give people what they don't ask for. I mean, it's just not. So even inside of this conversation, maybe you can, the same that I gave, the comment I gave to Candace, maybe you can ask, right? Is there anything that would help you, move the needle forward? Is there anything that you need that would help shift this or take this into action? Is there something that you want to do about this? And a lot of people don't. Right? They have awarenesses and then they just sit in their awarenesses and they don't want to take any action on anything. Dang. I get that, Tanisha, though. That's taking responsibility for stuff that's not yours to own. I mean, I do that. Hello, Michelle. I'm going to sneeze. I lay my personality on others and think I know what they want. Yeah, it gets me in trouble. Absolutely. And so many times we use these words that are so vague, and we think that they have the same meaning for everybody, right? We think that everybody shows love the same way, or quality time the same way, or being like heard the same way. Like for me, I don't love when I'm speaking with somebody face to face and they're on their phone or computer. Even if they're doing something that's not like of any consequence, maybe they're just closing out tabs. For me, I feel like I'm not being heard in that. So it's just a different definition of like presence, or what quality time, or what actually listening is. And in those moments, we just, if we want to be happy, right? And that's the conversation, right versus happy. If we want to be happy, then we just have to ask for what we need. And people might say no, but be willing to ask. Not my responsibility. Yeah, Tanisha, that's so huge. And I think, and maybe this is because of my own personal attachment to this, because I personally do this. So maybe I'm framing it from my own perspective, which I'll own that. But I think that it's because, for me, because I care so much, right? Because I want to help, right? But in that, sometimes not helping and not giving somebody the answer to a question that they didn't actually ask is more helpful. One of my favorite stories about this is a lot of people don't realize that when the butterfly is in the cocoon, there's a lot of fluid in its body. And its wings, so it's like the fluid-filled body, to my non-scientific background understanding, is that like the body almost feels like the whole cocoon, like it's very, very swollen, and the wings are super, super tiny. The struggle, right? That's how they get out. The struggle is what pushes the fluid out of the body and builds the strength in the wings so that the butterfly can fly. If you go to a cocoon that's like partially open and you see the little butterfly struggling, and because you care and because you love animals and you have such a beautiful heart, you take scissors and you cut the cocoon open, the butterfly will come out, but its body will still be really, really swollen. And it will never fly, and it will very soon die. The struggle is where we find strength. And I'm not saying that this is always the case. You know, there's not a all the time answer that applies to every single situation. But one of the best things that was ever done for me was being left to learn my own lessons, to pick my own self up, and to have that be done in a container of love and support, but to have to figure it out on my own. So if we really care and we really want to help, giving people the answers isn't automatically the right, and I'm using right, maybe that's not the proper word, isn't always the best thing. Ari says teaching kids direct communication is really important too. When mine make indirect comments, I ask them if there's a question they want to ask. Yeah, that's so good. I love that. Candace, you could use that as well. Like, is there a question you would like to ask? That's so powerful, Ari. It's also super important because especially, and I think this is not just with children, but a lot of times we say, don't do something, right? Like don't yell or don't be angry or don't throw a fit. And there's a lot of not to do's, but we don't actually like say what to do, right? So also inside of this conversation is not the same thing, but to me it's a trigger that brought me here. We want to make sure that we're also speaking specifically in not just saying don't yell, but use your inside voice, right? Giving the brain something to actually do versus just the not to do. That works for other people as well as self. Hello, everybody that's joining. I want to help people. I also want to feel valuable to people. My job is to deal with my shit about my value to myself and my story, not about winning. Their job is not to get what they haven't asked for. Hello. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, so good. You guys are so smart. I am an implied listener, especially with my son. So he makes nonverbal requests and I do it without thinking. I mean, everything's fine until it's not fine, right? Everything serves until it doesn't serve anymore, right? So everything's okay until it's not okay. So in this conversation, the place that can get dangerous is if you start to hear things that aren't there. If somebody tells you that they're okay and you keep harping on them because you don't think that they're okay. If you make up stories in your head because you know that you would say you're okay when you're not okay, and so then you're responding to them believing that they're making up the same thing and doing the same thing that you would do, that's when it gets tricky and can cause a little bit of discontent or a lot of bit of discontent inside of relationships, right? I used to do this all the time, hear things that weren't actually being said, respond to things that weren't actually being written or spoken. Because for me, when somebody used to ask me years ago if I was okay, I would say yes and really mean no, because I wanted them to keep asking, right? Because I needed the attention, right? And so because of that, then I would ask somebody else like, hey, Alicia, are you okay? And if you said yes, then I wouldn't believe you, because I know that when I was saying that, I didn't really mean it. And so then I would keep bugging you, which could sometimes get on your nerves, right? And create a problem where there doesn't need to be a problem. And so I think that when and this goes back to what Tanisha said a minute ago, when we deal with our stuff and we clean our own self up first, and then we're good, then we don't project any of that onto anybody else. Right? Even if we might be mad in a situation, if we ask somebody else if they're mad and they say no, then take them at their word. And if they are, then they will learn to ask for what they need or want, or they won't. I know, Alicia, people aren't all like you. What is that about? It seems awful unfair. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else that you guys want to ask or speak about? I want to give just time for completion, and I don't want this to be like a 90-minute Facebook Live. Hello, Michelle Lane, and everybody else that has joined. I'm so excited that everybody's here. Thank you. If you have any questions for me or feel incomplete on any of the conversation, definitely let me know, especially those of you that did. Awesome, Michelle. Those of you that did engage and ask questions. If you feel incomplete on anything, either comment in here and keep the conversation going, because I know it would serve others, or feel free to message me privately. I said I would talk about this a little bit, so I'll see if anybody asks any questions. And aloha. Are you still at the beach, Michelle? So I'm launching this online program in April. I think it's the 18th. I believe that's a Thursday in April. I have to check the date on my calendar. I didn't write that down to know for sure. But it's the 7 pillars of a true transformation. And it's an online 8-week group program that's set up to really help you shift from being stuck in perfectionism and frustration about not really being where you want to be, and move into that place of being happy and goal driven, but content and emotionally strong and at peace. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the people that are in the program. And if you have any questions or want to speak about it specifically, find out if it's something that would serve you or any of the details, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions inside of a conversation. Oh, thank you, Twyla. Absolutely. I love this. This type of conversation and connection, it fills my soul. Yeah, it fills my soul. In coaching, how do you balance or manage your time serving others and creating for yourself? It depends on the day that you ask. Today, Tanisha, better than yesterday. I believe that balance, we're no longer going to be PG-13. Maybe PG-13, that's not a big word. I believe balance is bullshit. I think I just don't believe that there is a state of that we're just in all the time. I think that flow is, for me, what feels so much better. And that changes. I think it is a continual evolution, at least for me. And I can only speak to my own experience because, sister, I am in this right now, which is why I laughed at your question. It's as if you knew what has been going on with me. Yeah, Twyla, hit me up if you want to talk. And Jennifer, by the way, I did see your text. I will respond. Tanisha, I don't know. That's the short answer. I don't know. I think it's about taking action and then getting feedback and noticing how, and when I say feedback, I don't mean from anybody else. I mean from self. Noticing areas where I might feel irritated or a longing, or for me, it shows up as like a sadness in my heart. And then I recognize I want to be in that space more. And then honestly, and this is so elementary, but then we got to block the time out in our calendar. I know that there are other people, and this is, again, personal, find out what works for you. I know that my friend Caitlin, and I believe Erin does this as well, where she has on and off weeks where she does like 1 week that's all coaching, and then the opposite week is more creation in that space. That's amazing. I have tried for myself to have certain days that works, and not always, so I don't have it figured out. Honestly, I don't have an answer. Sometimes I create really powerfully late at night, and other times it's really early in the morning. Sometimes I've chunked out like big spaces in my evening or in the middle of my day, and then I won't take clients. Like I'll tell people, no, I'm not available at this time, and honor that. Some days I do that on Sundays, and then other days it ends up that I'm really tired on Sundays. So I don't know. But what I am committed to is continuing to try and asking for what I need. So say that I wake up in the morning, and I've done this before actually, where I've woken up and I've been in this space of like, I want to create, like I'm in this flow today and I want to stay in this space. And I have clients that are scheduled. I've messaged people and asked, and I've been honest with them. I believe I've told Michelle, if you're still on the phone or on the line, I've told Michelle that before. I've told a client of mine, Shauna, like, hey, just the truth. Frankly, there's no reason, right? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not sick. I'm just in a space of writing and creating. And honestly, I want to stay in that space. Can we move your call to another day this week? And anytime I've asked, everybody's always said yes. So I have found that sometimes the creativity kind of sneaks up on me. And in those moments, if I want to stay in that space and I don't want to compartmentalize and do it for a short chunk of time, then I just ask for what I need and I create the space. So I don't know if that actually answered your question, because genuinely, I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. And yeah, creative flow is so important. And yeah, test and see, try it for a week and just notice. Like for me, the every other week thing is like, no, that's like, that does not even feel close to alignment for me. But the people who do it that I've talked to, they love it. And there's just no way to know until you try it. And I think we get twisted, and there's so many people out there just that freaking find the one thing that works for them, and then they just believe that that's going to be the one thing that works for every single other individual human on the planet. And every body is different. So all of us, like every body is different, and what you need and what I need and what's going to fuel me, or that I have to go before I get tired, and the capacity that you have is going to be different. And I tell you what else, it's going to be different when you're in your 20s versus in your 40s. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be less. It might be more. And when you're involved in a certain project, you might find you have more energy than you do in a different project. So we got to give ourselves, like, we need to calm down with this is the specific rule, and I've got to have a morning routine that works, and every single day at 5 a.m. I get up and then I do this for 5 minutes, unless that works for you. And if that does, do it. But that stuff does not work for me. And that doesn't mean that I'm wrong, or that I'm broken, or that I haven't figured it out yet, or that I'm still struggling to get a morning routine. No, I have a morning routine. I wake up and I brush my teeth and I drink a glass of water. I put some stuff in my diffuser. I usually burn some Palo Santo, and then I drink a cup of coffee. Other people get up and do yoga. Other people read the Bible. None of them are right or wrong. That's what I do in the mornings. That's my morning routine, right? So we got to give ourselves permission to explore and then to do something until it doesn't work anymore. And that comes in with the self-awareness and the self-checking in. And if you check in and it's serving you, keep it up. And if it's not, then stop it and try something else. Rant over. Messages from the heart. Ask for what I need. No self-judgment. Yeah. And sister, permission to change your mind. What works on Monday might not work on Tuesday. Shoot, what works on Monday might not work on Monday afternoon. I've honored time away this week, and now I'm itching to write after 3 days of shutting the world out. It's not always that way for me, but I tapped at capacity prior to vacation, feeling fueled now. Refueled. Awesome, Michelle. Congratulations. It's beautiful. Rules and expectations quickly feel a lot like have-tos. Yeah. And the problem with that is that we feel like we're wrong if we're not doing it the way that other people are doing it. I'm not going to say the F word on this live, but just stop it. And I only say that because I beat myself up and felt like crap for most of my probably like late 20s to early 40s, feeling like I had to figure out the way, or the meditation, or the thing that all my friends who seem to be nailing it, or all these people who are posting, yoga selfies on Instagram were doing it. And they all seem to have this one way and this thing figured out and this perfect diet, and they ate really well all the time, and everybody just seemed to be nailing it. And I was the only one who sometimes overslept and wore her pajamas all day long. And I just got tired of beating myself up and judging what was happening to me as wrong, and just allowed everything that I was going through and experiencing to be the beautiful gift, and allowed myself permission to slow down and check in and give me what I need. And I know this might not sit well with some people. It's rare, but sometimes that means I eat cookies for dinner. Sometimes that means I drink coffee all day. And other days it means that I shut off all technology and do yoga and meditate and write outside. And some days it means that I eat beautiful, whole food, plant-based meals. And I just stopped judging any of it as wrong, and just checked in, and what became right became what felt good to me. That was my new definition of right. And my friends, that right there changed the whole game. Yes, pivot is needed. Permission to pivot. Boom. Hashtag life happens, right? I mean, I think it's Brene Brown. I'll paraphrase this because I think it was probably said more eloquently than this, but it's like in the middle of our stuff, the last thing we need is to beat ourselves up and judge ourselves for being human. Lord. With new awareness, we are allowed to make a new decision. Well, now I am going to end this at the 60-minute mark. Where does time go? How does that go so fast? Some of y'all been here the whole time. Thank you for that. Thank you for those that are just joining as well. I really, like, dang, this is awesome. I hope I didn't miss anybody's question. If I did, I will go back and I will listen. I have total beat myself up for not being able to keep up the pace that I expected to keep. I pushed so hard. I ended up sick, and all that's doing is landing me behind anyway. Yep. It's only worked, never. Not on the happy bus. Yeah. Let me not even. We'll be on here for another 30 minutes. Maybe that's a follow-up video. Twyla, I was in an abusive relationship for 41 years with the woman that you're staring at on the video. Just at some point, it's like ridiculous for me. Like, this has got to stop. It's got to stop. It doesn't help. Like, it does not help. Not if you want to be happy. Not if you want to be happy. Thank you for sharing this. Oh my goodness. Okay, Bree, if you live your life doing only what truly makes you happy, will being with another ever make you happy? Yeah. Because you won't need the other to make you happy. So, I have a problem with you complete me because I know what it's like to enter a relationship with a hole. And when I entered my relationship with a hole, then I needed you to fill me. And I made my happiness your responsibility. And that's a hard job for anybody else. And so much. And I think it'd be fair enough to say everything, Bree, changed for me when I got me, when I was good, when I was whole, when I was complete and solid with me, a complete entity, and then I can meet you whole and complete. And my coach, actually, Sean, and his wife Sybil have a book about this called You Can't Complete Me. Then we're able to form this third entity, which is the relationship. And we're not like an energy vampire demanding that you give me the life of my happiness. I've heard Will Smith say, and I love this, my happiness depends on me. So you're off the hook. I think at one point in time, he said he fired Jada, right? He was like, it's good, you're fired. That's no longer your job. I'm good. My happiness depends on me. And so in that space, then, Bree, you're coming to the relationship happy, and you don't need them to make you happy, because instead of trying to complete, you will complement. Good question. Michelle, yes, answer on your next video. I want to be on the happy bus, right? Yeah, 53 years. Until now, Jennifer. Until now. So I'm super late. You're just in time for the wrap up, Monisha. Amazing. My beautiful friends, thank you for what you co-created today. This was more powerful and dope than I could have even possibly and it's because of who you are and how you show up and engage in this conversation. I love this so much. Like, I love this so much. And I honestly, I have the date picked, but I forgot to write it down. But we're doing this. We're keeping going. As long as you keep showing up and engaging, I'm going to keep talking with you. I love the conversation, and I'm so grateful for you, and that you are here, and that you co-create this really incredible space. I love you, my friends. Thank you, and be well, and we will talk soon. Okay, bye now.